All right. So, Cindy, let's start with spiral dynamics. Tell us briefly what it is so people will just know what we're talking about, and then explain how you got into it and why it interests you.
Right. So spiral dynamics is one model of human development. There are multiple models of adult human development out in the world, and I have studied several of them, and I love them. I find them very helpful to me as a human being who's trying to grow up, and as a coach who's trying to help other people solve life problems, and as just sort of a thinker who wonders about the future of humanity. Is like, is humanity going to survive ourselves? Or are we going to figure out how to be on this planet in a way that is sustainable? So the whole field of adult development has been important to me from all of those perspectives. It's also been important to me because of my work in spiritual intelligence, the essence of which, as we talked about last time, is love in action and becoming the highest and best person you can, shifting from small egoic behaviors to larger, healthier, more informed by higher self behaviors.
Okay, and egoic, explain that.
Yeah, so ego is a complicated term. It means a lot of things depending on your field. In the field of psychology, it tends to refer to a part of our psyche that is our sense of who we are. When I say I am Cindy, I am American, I am a master's degree from Duke University, I am blah, blah, blah. These are all pieces of identification of who I am. Some of us are earlier in the development of our egos. If you think about teenagers, they're very early in the development of their egos. They're trying to figure out who they are and what their power is, and they rebel sometimes in order to help identify themselves. Ego goes through developmental phases, like a teenager becomes a young adult and a young adult becomes a mature adult. Ego goes through developmental stages that can be described and measured with a great deal of refinement now. So in that sense, I love the word ego because it's a healthy sense of ego, and it's how we operate in the world. If we don't have an ego, we don't know how to function. Now, oftentimes people use, oh, he's just an egomaniac as a slam. Right. And that means that someone is all about themselves to the exclusion of others. That starts to bleed into the spiritual use of the word ego. In the spiritual world, ego is often made bad and soul, spirit, or higher self made good. I don't like the good-bad dichotomy because I think we're embodied human beings. We need our egos to function. I don't know how to be helpful in the world without having my ego being present. What I don't want is unhealthy aspects of my ego being present. I want my healthiest, best, most mature self to show up. And because of that, I see a strong overlap between the world of psychology and spiritual intelligence, which is, of course, my core sort of commitment. And if spiritual intelligence is about being love in the world, how do we do that? So there's a very high level of ego development that starts to reflect the transcendence of the small self, the engagement with service to the whole, and some kind of connection to transcendent purpose. So that's my entry into the world of ego development theory and adult development theory. And
spiral dynamics is an adult development theory.
Yes.